You are not a musician if you can't make music without electricity. This is a statement that I came across on Threads recently, and in the world of AI tools and beatmakers who are just clicking around in their DAW instead of playing actual instruments, I think it brings up a pretty interesting question. What is a musician? Oxford Languages defines a musician as a person who plays a musical instrument, especially as a profession, or is musically talented. As much as I may not want to admit it, my immediate reaction to this definition is pretty closely aligned with the thread that I read earlier. I'm thinking about people who play drums, guitar, piano, and any other instrument in the more traditional sense. But within this definition are two really important things to note here. We're talking about a person who plays a musical instrument and a person who is musically talented. So can a DAW be classified as a musical instrument anyway? Also, how do we define what is musically talented? Music is defined as vocal or instrumental sounds, or both, combined in such a way as to produce beauty of form, harmony, and expression of emotion. So by this very definition of music, I would argue that anybody who can produce or even combine vocal or instrumental sounds to create beauty of form, harmony, or expression of emotion, that means if a person has never even laid their hands on a physical instrument, but maybe they can chop up samples, create custom arrangements, do various sound design thingies, that person can be considered a musician. Even on the instrument side of things, as somebody who's been playing several physical instruments for most of my life, I have to admit that technology has made it so that the beatmakers that we're talking about can use the piano roll in their DAW as an instrument that's just as valid in a lot of ways as the physical instruments that we're talking about. But back to the point about not being a musician if you can't make music without electricity. My assumption is that this thread was pointed at people who are chopping up samples or clicking around the piano roll in their DAW, but let's be real here. Would you have the same attitude when it comes to a very talented and successful graphic designer that doesn't really know how to work with paint? Probably not. Then the difference here isn't whether or not a person is a true musician. It's simply whether or not the instrument that the person plays is accessible without electricity, which is honestly a weird place to draw this line. As musicians, we spend a lot of time talking about how society doesn't support us like we want them to, yet we spend all this energy gatekeeping in our very own community. Similarly, we're often guilty of expecting society to support us not because our music is amazing, but because we just worked hard to learn our instrument. But that's a whole nother topic. As cheesy as I'm sure this is going to come across, I have to say it anyways. The tools or instruments that you use are not what defines you as a musician. Rather, your ability to use these tools to create music. So if you got something out of this video or you completely disagree with everything that I just said, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to see more videos like this one, let me know by hitting that like button and subscribing on the way out. Thanks for hanging out.